W courtside Saturday after Syracuse defeats BC 95-86 in triple overtime. So we've seen 2 triple overtime games in the ACC, Mike, in the span of 5 years. Georgia Tech involved in that game on Tuesday against Clemson. That was an awkward fall, McNeely. Hoping it looked a lot worse than it turns out to be. McNeely helped up. That's Ndongo, who is still down for Georgia Tech.
And actually, because of the way they fell, it probably worked out not too bad for both of them. And it looked like Ndongo got the worst of it because he got kind of kicked in the head, but was pushed from the back. And I don't know, Ames might have gotten called for the foul on that with pushing in the back.
Mike, there was a foul on Ames. That's his second.
Yeah, that's how Ndongo went to the floor. He got pushed from behind.
Ames went to the bench for Virginia. That shot comes up short for Nate George. McNeely is the leading scorer so far for Virginia and on the season on average as well. He's got 15 in the game so far. Virginia made its first 3 three-point attempts. Tane Murray on the handle. He's guarded by Sutton. Shot clock is inside of 10. McNeely trying to make his move. This is a deep 3. Money McNeely.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much you're going to do defensively against that. McNeely just kept backing up, and, terrific job by Georgia Tech. They've done a nice job defensively overall in the first half against the 3.
McNeely from about 27 feet away, and then just beyond the line for Nate George for 3. Punch. Counter punch.
He's actually been more effective from 3 than he has been in the lane in this game. You know, they were worried about him getting inside and being disruptive, but he's been tough from the perimeter.
Shot clock once again inside of 10. The game clock is inside of 2 minutes in our first half. Murray scooping and scoring.
Now, see, that's the type of game I think that Damon Stoudemire wants to live with, is a 2-point game in the paint with, Virginia scoring that way if they're going to score.
Virginia shooting 55% so far as a team in the first half. Soiree lost it on the way up. Buchanan was there. So was Rhodey. Good sportsmanship to help up Soiree.
And Soiree kind of jumped into the block that time. He had a little bit of room to make the shot. Went right into Buchanan.
Ron Sanchez is the interim head coach for Virginia. Does have head coaching experience at Charlotte. Certainly a longtime assistant in 2 different stints for Tony Bennett here at Virginia. Coach Bennett stepping down prior to the start of the season. He will be honored at halftime. Some of his former players are in attendance tonight.
Interesting matchup with Powell on Rhodey.
Virginia's 11-12 on the season, 4-8 in conference play. 3-pointer from Saunders is a miss. Powell, he's knocked down a couple of 3s so far for Georgia Tech, Mike.
Yeah, and they've given him a lot more respect as this half has gone along.
Ndongo tries the other side of the rim, and it spills off.
He's missed some makeable shots inside. That was a good quick move, but he couldn't finish.
Ndongo with 7 points so far for Georgia Tech. Nate George leading the way with 12. Powell's into double digits with 10. That's Rhodey on target for a 3-ball.
Buchanan slid just enough to give him a good look at it. It was pretty subtle, borderline moving screen, but gave him a good look.
6 points for Rhodey. 20 seconds to go in the half. Timeout taken by. It's up to 8 for Virginia. 18.4 seconds remaining in our first half.
I was going to say 41 points. Pretty stout first half offensively for Virginia.
Not bad for the lowest scoring team in the ACC. Of course, they are second best in scoring defense. 3 seconds. 2 seconds. And a 3-pointer. Right before the horn from Nate George. Is no stranger to long games. If you go back, Mike, to November of 2020, they lost the game to Georgia State, a quadruple overtime in the longest game in Georgia Tech history.
Well, and this a very cleanly played game, only 5 turnovers combined for the two teams. So ball handling pretty good, and there I said it, and right out the
yeah, right out the window as Ndongo's pass a little too much for Soiree.
A very cleanly played game, only 6 combined turnovers for both teams.
Still pretty good. Last lead for Georgia Tech was at the 7:55 mark in the first half. They led 25-23. Brody played almost the entire first half. He fit in really well on the Georgia Tech side of things.
Yeah. Ames the only one for Virginia in any kind of trouble. He's got 2 fouls.
George up ahead, and Ndongo runs it down and lays it in.
That's been a theme throughout the game. Their bigs have been running the floor really well. Soiree and Ndongo really getting up and down the middle of the court.
Third assist for George. That's on net for Brody in 3.
There's really no hesitation in that shot either for him.
Andrew Rody with a 3-pointer. 7th made of the game for Virginia as they produce a turnover.
And that just a lack of concentration by George, just a careless pass.
So the lead is 6. It was as large as 9 in the first half for Virginia. Brody puts the head down against Terry. Shot clock is at 4. Stepping back, Ames. Ames hits a 3.
See, you know, Virginia is very comfortable with the clock under 8 seconds, and they're used to playing that way. They're used to long possessions. That Ames was out for a little bit in that first half. That gets him in some rhythm now.
Try to get it inside the Ndongo.
Here's the look. I mean, this is a really nice catch and finish by him, too. He just outruns everybody. And they look ahead, and then this is just catch and shoot. And then, you know, he gets the switch. He drives him back a little bit. The switch, the big on small, and he drives him back and gets a good open jump shot.
George drops it low. Ndongo all the way across. Terry explodes out of that corner in midair. Kofi caught him.
Well, and that's, you know, maybe he gets in some rhythm now. Lance Terry goes, he's their leading scorer and doesn't score in the first half.
Let's take a look at that mark of a fighter moment brought to you by Modelo.
Yeah, no points for him, and good take there. That was actually all set up by the cross-court pass out of the double team. Terry's holding his wrist, and I think on that follow-through on the dunk, he might have hurt something. But, yeah, he is holding his wrist there, and he really went at the basket hard, and that shot, that did not look good at all.
So Terry comes up empty from the free throw line. McNeely, he misses the 3. Powell had the position. Kofi took it away. Powell gets it back, adjusts the headband, and flips it over to his teammate, Nate George. Ndongo trying to drive on Rody. So they got it into Ndongo. Foul was called.
And they talked about that today on the pick and roll for the bigs. If you catch over the top, to not put down the ball on the floor for Ndongo, because there's going to be help coming from the weak side to just either look for your shot to get it up or pass the ball.
Lance Terry has gone to the bench for Georgia Tech, favoring that wrist. This is George.
Got to switch again, double team.
Powell. That's his first miss from long distance. Buchanan run on the floor. Ndongo got back, pinned it on the backboard. They're going to score the bucket. for Coach Hamilton, and the most wins in school history at Florida State. 23 years on the sideline for the Noles.
Well, and you know, with Lance Terry, he's out of the ball game now. I don't know where the points come from. You know, he hadn't scored in the game. Powell and George are really going to have to step on the gas, and Dongo inside too.
In the paint?
Yeah, and he's had some trouble finishing inside.
Big collision there. Powell and McNeely got the ball back. In the paint, Virginia has a 10-point advantage right now, Mike, 22-12. That's what they did against Pitt as well to lead them to the big win.
And, you know, they get this type of lead, they get very deliberate, and a 10-point lead for them is bigger than a 10-point lead against most.
Buchanan, shot clock inside of 5, front rim. Soiree, Ndongo, Kofi. And it finally comes out to Nate George. Of course, 8 made three-pointers also helped the cause for Virginia. Georgia Tech has made 7.
And they've got Rhodey on Powell, which is an effort to keep a smaller guy and keep the three-point shot down on him, and he's forced to take a long one there.
Ames spins away. Rhodey lays it in from Ames.
Powell was caught a little in between that time, and Georgia Tech also went for the long rebound, came up with it, and Ames, nice look ahead.
And the 10-0 run for the Cavaliers, up by 13, largest lead. Rhodey hits the deck, and we've got a whistle at a timeout. Virginia on the run on CW courtside.
2 of 4, so coming on strong there, and for the Cavaliers, control Nate George, control the point. 15 points first half. None here in the second half. They need to lock in on him. And I'll tell you what, if Lance Terry's wrist is an issue, they can really lock in on him.
From the corner, Rhodey misses. Batted around to Sutton.
And Sutton is the guy who wouldn't normally be in the rotation, but pretty nice play there.
There's Lance Terry. He's got that brace on the right wrist.
He's going to come back and give it a go.
He is moving to the scorer's table.
Still only 6 guys have been in the rotation for Georgia Tech.
Rhodey around Soiree, trying to recover defensively. Buchanan cleans up the mess.
Well, with that drive, he got everybody concentrating on the ball, and Buchanan really had nobody to check him off the offensive glass. 6
points for Blake Buchanan, sophomore center. That's what he averages on the season per game. Powell bounces it low. Dongo skillful into that rim, Mike.
Well, and it was a great move because he spun to the baseline away from where the help was coming. And if you know you're getting help from the top, you cannot give up the baseline.
3 Georgia Tech players into double digits, led by Nate George with 15. Kofi grabs it. Bit of a mistimed jump for Soiree. Goes out of bounds to Georgia Tech. Tomorrow on CW Women's Hoops, ranked teams collide. Number 14 NC State heads to Tallahassee to take on number 22 Florida State. A top 25 showdown. You don't want to miss tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, only on the CW. Mike Jaminski, I'll be there with Kelly Deo with all the action.
And the ACC women have they've been showing out this year.
That should be a fantastic game between those two teams. NC State is 10-1 in conference play, Mike. Florida State is 9-2 right behind him in the standings. And Notre Dame is undefeated in conference play, 11-0. So Rhodey picked up the foul. McNeely's going to come out.
Well, here's the bad news for Virginia is they're 2 away from putting Georgia Tech in the bonus. The bad news is for Georgia Tech is they're not a great free throw shooting team. So again, with their leading scorer injured and not really playing well, they've got to, if they get into the bonus, they must take advantage of it.
So Georgia Tech for the game, Mike, is 3 of 7 from the line. They shoot 66% as a team. That's at the bottom of the rankings in the ACC.
Yeah, and we'll keep an eye on Lance. You know, for him, if he can try to get, you know, as close as he can get to the basket, you know, if he can get layups or get something inside, you know, I've got to imagine he's even massaging that wrist right now, and he's standing over in the corner.
Right in front of his own bench there. Dongo puts the shoulder down, and he travels. Roger Ayers right on top of the call. He's joined by Lee Cassell and Mark Schnurr.
Probably had a shot, but just wanted to improve his position a little bit too much.
Even with the turnover, Dongo, 13 points in the game for Georgia Tech. Virginia's won 3 of its last 5 games, 2 road wins at Pitt and Miami, and a home victory against Boston College.
First zone we've seen out of Georgia Tech in this game.
Shot clock to 5. Buchanan free throw line. Rims out. Dongo over the top of the board.
Yeah, we may see more of that now. You know, it's just funny. The coach will change defense. They'll see how it goes in the first possession. They may come out of it quickly. Let's see how long they stay with it.
Out of the corner, Sutton.
It's only his 3rd attempt on the year, and he has yet to hit one this season.
He's only got 1 made field goal for the freshman from St. Louis, Missouri. Ames stops and hits.
Yeah, really disciplined mid-range shot. It's tough for a left-handed player to go right and pull up.
Ames has 9, coming off a career game at Pitt on Monday with 27 points. Dongo to Sutton.
And that's exactly the play they worked on in shoot-around today. And the catch over the top, the stop, and then hitting the other big guy cutting in.
Sutton with that last bucket for Georgia Tech. Into the box score. Sharma, curl. Too strong. Robinson can't run it down. Virginia says that Georgia Tech touched it. We'll check.
Towers at Houston with Elijah Wan. Probably he was a point center before they even knew what that was.
So Virginia by 11. They have outscored Georgia Tech 14-8 here in the second half after leading by 5 at halftime. 41-36, shot clock at 5. Ames slams on the brakes around Terry. Sutton has the rebound. $15 points for Nate George. He leads the way for Georgia Tech. Terry still has not scored for the Yellow Jackets. George will take it all the way and miss close range. Sharma.
You know, I was watching him, and Ames has given he's given Terry a little respect, but not as if he were healthy.
Did have a brace on that right wrist for a moment, took it off, got right back into the game. But has struggled 0 for 3 from the floor.
Right, good. Virginia is just really grinding down that offensive shot clock.
Murray, end of the clock. Powell and Buchanan leap for it. Powell runs it down. Trying to take it all the way to the rim, and he did it.
Boy, Powell and their bigs have done a nice job getting out in the open floor and finishing. I've really been impressed with Duncan Powell.
Yeah, he's in the double digits again, Mike. Last 10 games before tonight, averaging 15 points and 6 rebounds.
And his versatility, too, to be able to, in the first half, stepping out, knocking down threes.
Shot clock is at 5 again. Sharma this time. It's too strong. Buchanan has it. Ames reloads.
And I'll tell you what, in this game, Virginia has been as good as on the offensive glass as I've seen them, too. I mean, it's not a strength of theirs, but that time it gets them a second look into three.
That's now 9 of 22 and 41% from beyond the arc for Virginia. Fourth best three-point shooting team in the ACC by a percentage. And that's going to go the other direction.
Here's the look. I mean, you want to get a good look at a three, get it on the offensive glass. Everybody is scattered defensively. And this was something actually that Virginia did very well at Pitt, rebound the ball, and they're a plus 10 in this game, 30-20 over Georgia Tech.
They out-rebounded the Panthers 33-21, allowed just 21 rebounds. And the win led by 15 at halftime in that game, went on to win it. Kofi just picked up the foul. Don't forget, next Saturday, Xfinity Series at Daytona, following our CW courtside Saturday doubleheader. The hardwood and the track. Buchanan will come out of the lineup for Virginia.
Well, right now it is 6-0 fouls against the home team.
Virginia's been to the line once tonight. Three-pointer from George.
And he has hit some very opportunistic threes. At the end of the first half, he gave them a nice boost, and they needed that three.
So 18 points now for George, adding that three-pointer. Shot clock again. Winding down for McNeely, hanging and scoring.
That's a tough cover. It's got Sutton, who's 6'8" on him, and
This is Terry. George tees up another three. Kofi the rebound. $20 points for Isaac McNeely. Unselfishly into the corner for Ames.
McNeely, Rhodey, Ames, three.
The third president of the United States and the principal author of the Declaration of Independence. Well, Georgia Tech is going to have its own revolution here, Mike, if they're going to get back into this one.
And it's going to be tough with their leading scorer not operating at full capacity, and we'll see. Right, yeah, he normally has a shot he would have taken, and he actually put that up left-handed.
Dongo on the offensive glass. It won't fall in. Soiree was there. Ames has it. It's kind of been the story of the second half right there for Georgia Tech. Virginia trying to win on a night when they celebrate their national championship coach, Tony Bennett, who stepped down prior to the start of this season. His trusty assistant, Ron Sanchez, taking over the program. Trying to win their fourth in their last 6 games. McNeely, Robinson, rocking the stanchion.
Another, shot clock winding down, the missed three, and then to get just an offensive rebound for a dunk. And I'll tell you what, I mean, Anthony Robinson, I think, is playing himself into some playing time here and over the last few games.
George missed it, long rebound. Saunders runs it down. Couldn't handle it. Lost it out of bounds. Let's take a look at that mark of a fighter moment brought to you by Modelo.
Here's the look. I mean, you've done all you can right there. Offensive rebound. You get the shot you want, and Robinson right there. And this is what he does well. He blocks shots. He protects the rim. But redshirt freshman doing some work inside.
4 points in the game for Anthony Robinson. Powell, quick shot. 5:45 to go in regulation. They're leading by 5 at halftime for Virginia. Remember, Georgia Tech went triple overtime on Tuesday on the road at Clemson for a 3-point victory against the Tigers. Ames. That was their first road win of the season. Unlike tonight, that game went back and forth. 23 lead changes and 14 ties against the Tigers. Powell trying to chisel his way to the rim.
Well, and how about Clemson losing that game and then having to play Duke and Carolina on a Saturday and a Monday back-to-back at home?
This is Rhodey way behind the line.
I don't know if Ron Sanchez, another offensive, I don't know if that was a shot that Ron Sanchez wanted, a long three that early in the shot clock.
Now for the Tigers, Mike, that was just their second home loss of the year for Coach Brownell.
12 offensive rebounds for Virginia right now.
Saunders and Robinson cannot collaborate. 4.5 minutes to go. Powell trying to go down Broadway with the left hand, lays it in.
Yeah, good finish for him. He's really shown nice handle in the open floor.
16 points for Powell. George has 18, leading scorer for Georgia Tech tonight. Neely's got 20. Robinson bumped by Soiree, close to the rim.
Yeah, that's again the mismatch inside. He's going to be able to take McNeely right there, and then, boy, a nice handle off of Rhodey to finish with his offhand. Well traveled, from North Carolina, but played at North Carolina A&T and then Sacramento State, and finding his way to Georgia Tech.
The CW's #1 show is back, and it's all new this Monday. Don't miss All-American Monday, 8/7 Central, right here on the CW. So glad that you joined us for CW Courtside Saturday Game 3. Tom Hormy alongside the All-American from Duke, Mike Jaminski.
There's a few of them in the building tonight, too. They are scattered all over the place. Some back to honor their coach, and some who played before.
Several members of the 2019 National Championship team, including NBA teammates.
And by the way, the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are well represented here tonight, aren't doing too bad in the East in the NBA either.
DeAndre Hunter, Ty Jerome. Powell seems to be the go-to man here. Hits a roadblock, and Kofi falls away. Soiree is trying to fight for the board, and he might have picked up his 4th personal. So we'll take a timeout. Hunter and Guy, courtside.
In all fairness, and this team is playing 6 guys basically, and with Lance Terry, scoreless in the first half and then getting hurt and basically not being a factor in this game. There's just a lot to overcome for them.
Yep. Favoring that right wrist. He's 0 for 4 from the floor and hasn't scored. Isaac McNeely has 20 points, 20 or more for the 4th time this season. Make the shot clock, Powell interception. George had it taken away by Kofi, who got back.
Yeah, they really have not had many rushes up the floor, and a good pursuit from behind that time defensively by Virginia.
Buchanan looking for the one-armed rebound, tangled up with Powell for the foul. So with just inside of 3 minutes to go in regulation, Mike, Virginia closing in on 70 points scored. Since 2010, their record is 174-12 when they score 70 or more. Ames, that's 70.
Yeah, we've got a while to go, but remember they had 41 in the first half, so, big boost there. But, a lot of that, too, is they've been a lot more deliberate in the second half in their possession, so they've been really grinding the shot clock down.
Largest lead of the night after leading by 5 at halftime. George trying to weave his way. Neely will pick up the foul.
Boy, he just gives them. You know, I was looking at the numbers. You know, you see a guy. If you're Pitt and
go to the rafters. Former players all over the building. 2 free throws from Nate George.
Yeah, I was talking about Ames handling the ball now. You know, going into the Pitt game, he's averaging 6 points a game. And, you know, on the scouting report, you're not expecting a guy to have a game where he's 4.5 times his scoring average against you. But I think now, going forward, I mean, he may be moving up. He's got to be moving up a little bit farther up on who you're looking at this team.
This time he dumps it low to Buchanan. Shot clock winding down for Kofi in the jam. To your point about Ames, Mike, 18 points tonight, 4 of 6 on 3-pointers.
Yeah, it's his third straight game in double figures. He was 11 before that Pitt game, and you know.
Dungo, other side of the rim. I will say, Mike, I just noticed in the box score that Rhodey has 9 assists.
Yeah, and
he had 9 assists in the game at Pitt on Monday, too, to set a career high, so he's tied it.
Yeah, and that's been a big thing for them. And Rhodey was really put in that position last year and really went through some growing pains at the position, but he has settled in at the point guard this year, and he's got some great size to him, makes good decisions like that one.
Buchanan was trying to stuff that one. Lost it on the way up, well defended. Foul was called in the process.
I mean, as a team, they've got 20 assists, only 7 turnovers. Fabulous numbers for a team assist-to-turnover ratio.
They had 20 assists on Monday as well in the win at Pitt. So substitutions coming in for Virginia, and that's Tony's son Eli, number 25, junior practice player.
Same number.
He also played for Coach Sanchez in Charlotte, too.
Yeah, and
Tony wore 25 as well.
Wore 25 with the Hornets.
Solid game from Buchanan in the center position. Well, there was certainly a lot of emotion in the building for the banner for Tony Bennett going up in the rafters, and the players that he entrusted to Ron Sanchez came through big time tonight with flying colors, Mike.
Yep, no, it's a great win, great celebration of Tony's career here. And this is Dad, who he played for at Wisconsin Green Bay, who he coached with at Wisconsin Green Bay, and also Washington State. Took over for him at Washington State, and then came east to Virginia
for 15 years in that national title in 2019. There's the final 25 seconds. Virginia's going to move to 12-12 on the year, 5-8 in conference play. They're going to win 4 of their last 6 games. Eli passes it up. Roberts trying to finish it. Hockey assist for Eli.
He got the steal, I think.
He's in the box score. And that caps the night for Virginia. And their head coach Tony Bennett celebrated this evening.
Ron Sanchez and Damon Stoudemire